everybody. Another live here on lovely, what is today? Today's of August. We're very fortunate, okay, from the Maryland office in Scottsdale, have Jay Pierce with us today. J-E. Tell me a little about yourself. Get into your music background and all that stuff, Jay, please.
Yeah, I don't normally bring up the music background, but I mean, I got to say, I got to live out a portion of my dream. As a youngster, I was signed with Warner Music Group, got to do some, small touring, and I got to work with some of my favorite artists. So it was fun. Like I've got to work with E40, Fabulous. I got to do a good few shows with Fabulous. I have one of the last records with Nate Dogg, rest in peace. DMX, actually, I have a record with DMX as well. Huey, Mike Jones. I've worked with a lot of different artists, and I've had fun. Got to, like I said, I got to at least tour the United States and enjoy it. There was no complaints.
And have some good music show too. I've listened to, and
I was
they're
decent.
really good. Oh, they're really good. Yeah, and you know what? So I have a little music background too. I personal, your professional, your hobbies, because that would technically be a hobby. You had a recording contract, which is awesome. Okay, so
Yeah, I made some money there, and then the IRS came and knocking. That wasn't fun, but lesson learned. Lesson
yeah,
learned as a young kid.
well, you learned that early about real estate that the IRS is not an establishment; they're actually your partner.
Yeah, yeah. They're a very aggressive partner too.
Oh, be sure, very aggressive. And but I have to ask you about one line in your song, one of the songs you sent me. I can't think of the name of it right now, but you're talking about balling with Ewing. You remember the line in there? Balling with Ewing.
Oh, it was just a play on words. Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now,
Yeah.
when I ball and balling, I'm not. Balling means playing incredibly well, right? I mean, and then you use Patrick Ewing. Thinking, Patrick Ewing? What? Well,
Yeah.
you couldn't use anybody.
Well, so ball because we always use the Jordan and everything. So we go with balling and Patrick Ewing. He don't do that to Pat. Pat had a good career. He's a
No,
Hall of
he
Famer.
Nick used.
Uh, Yeah, it was a play on words. It was going balling as far as financial gains, and I went
Right.
with Patrick Ewing. So
Yeah, I know. I was talking to, and she goes, maybe he's falling, crying. I go, no, he doesn't.
You know what? Hey, sometimes you gotta get that emotional cleanse out.
Yeah,
You got to If you don't cry in the studio, you're not really recording, right?
I as like love lost with Patrick. But Ewing's one of them. Bill, other, and I LeBron because I'm LeBron for Knicks, so Celtics fan. Can't have those guys. Can't
Ah, it's the Celtics. That's what it was. Okay.
have,
Forget about that Celtics thing you got.
have balling with Bird. I'd be like, yeah, baby.
I forget about that little Celtic pride you have over there.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, what's his name too? Kanzinga. That's this year, I think.
Chris Stapps, the unicorn.
Yeah. The what is he?
Nice. Like 7'4".
Yeah, crazy. He's threes and he's anyway. Let's not forget basketball all day. Tell us a little about your business. In for a few years now. How you caught up?
Yeah. So right now we're going on year 5 right now, and I've had a nice. I'll say I've definitely had an interesting first start at real estate. It has been up, down, rocky. Remember, like I went like full time real estate like right as the country shut down. So trust me, I was more nervous than anyone at that point. But it's been good. A lot of people know that I started off with the Mitchell Group with Curtis and Mitch, who have been great with helping me grow my career and helping me build and just showing me the ropes of how to sustain a long term real estate career. So that was definitely a plus and a blessing to be able to start with them. And then just recently, earlier this year, I went and started a brand and started to build my own team advisory. And it's been it definitely has been a little bit different with learning how to, kind of building the right processes that can be followed without you having to say it. So having the processes set and ready to go without me personally having to verbalize it each time. To where I can almost give someone a booklet and say, hey, this is the onboarding process. This is what your first 30 days are going to look like. This is what your first 90 days are going to look like. And and really helping my guys grow and reach their goals and holding them accountable. So it was a learning curve for all of us at first, but we definitely got it going. I got Daniel Torres, who's been a good friend of mine, who he was like the first hire. He started this year, and he's done pretty well. And I got a new hire, my man Terrell Turner, who I've known for a good amount of years. Actually, I knew Terrell. I met Terrell music wise during the Warner days, so that was fun. And he's in. He hit the ground running, almost like two transactions in. So it's been fun because I started to realize when I was having moments to where I was down, they were there to pick me up as well. So like building that strong foundation, I think is something that's going to be really really huge for me.
Yeah. No, great. Yeah. Start off with your team, like you said, and got some really in that. Well, hold on. I know this person. You got some really. I don't they recognize this person.
Miss Nicole Demas. I'm sorry, Miss Nicole Diana. I do apologize. Yes, 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 yes. Good friend. That's definitely one of my good friends. We actually kind of came in together. Like we
Right.
started together. So that was me and her were like learning the business and going through the ups and downs together. So it was fun. It's almost like having a but actually, and we're like our birthday is like the same, almost the same day. We're both Aries, so it formulated a good relationship and at least with business because there's certain things that I lean on her for and vice versa, to where we get to bounce ideas. And not only that, like just kind of our crew within here, we have me, Curtis, Drew, Charlie, Nicole as well. Like we all kind of lean on each other for different advice and just different times, just because we're all going through different things in our business. And there's certain things that they may do that they excel at that I can be better, and there's certain things that I may do that they can excel at. And we just all bounce ideas. So I mean, I'm definitely fortunate to have them all around and helping me grow.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and you, Eric, and there's a whole bunch of really young professionals in the office, and you guys are killing it. It's a great environment.
Yes, yes. The environment work culture has been really, really good here. I think that's the biggest thing with us here. We love coming into the office. I tell people all the time. I sometimes I come into the office just for lack of a better phrase. Sometimes I got to be an energy sucker. Sometimes my energy's not there, and if my energy's not there, I'm not performing well. I'm not doing what I need to do. But sometimes I can come in and I can get some of Curtis's positive energy or Nicole's positive energy or Drew or Terrell or Chart, like just getting be around them, and then being around some of the, I get to be around some of the veterans here a lot. Like I share a wall with Neil Gatton, and we all know what type of superstar he is. So that's the we call that the therapy office. When the deal's not going right, you go lay on Neil's couch and he'll talk you through it.
You go see the doctor, Doctor Neil
Yes,
DeVries.
yes, we do.
No, that's great. I love it. I love it. So, all right, let's talk about. So I mean, 5 years is a lot of time, but it's still that's still relative business. Able to do a decent amount of the cut, so to speak. So, give an idea of how you. I mean, prospect and you're proactive. A little idea of things that you do.
Yeah, I know you guys see Philip back there. That's my mascot, Philip. I tell people always ask about the lion, and I said it's always for me. It's always hunting season. I always
Yeah,
got to remind myself that I always got to be hunting because I learned early in my career, a little bit of success and you start to get a little bit lax. You start to feeling yourself, for lack of a better phrase. You're like, oh, I got this. I don't need to continue to do the same things that I were doing, before, cold calling, doing open houses, and you stop doing that. And then what happens is you'll get to a point to where, okay, the referrals, the leads start to dry up, and now you're sitting there like, wait, now what?
Mm.
And what I've been doing and kind of what I've been preaching to my team, at least how I want to grow and build my team is lead gen. Everything is about lead generation and following up with the leads, making sure that we're utilizing CRMs, making sure that we're touching the people as many times as we can. So I mean, I don't care if it's a rental lead, I don't care if it comes from Realtor.com, I don't care if someone gives me a referral, whatever the case. I have a set in place, 3, 7, and then 10. I like to make sure give them a call each time, try to touch base with them, and I say, look, until they tell me stop calling, I'm going to keep calling. I'll do
For
that with that, and people know I'm still a big expired listing guy. Like I will call expired listings, no problem. And I've been successful with getting expired listings. So it's been, for me, it's still a thing that I do. I don't mind it. It does become a headache when you get some not so pleasant people on the phone. But then once you're able to get someone that is pleasant on the phone, it changes everything. Everyone, you have that first fear about picking up the phone, and then once you finally do, you realize how easy it is.
That's great. Now, I know is my coaching too. You phrase a little different in the hunt mentality, and like you said, always hunting. You have to ask why Philip.
Say it again.
Why did you name that lion Philip?
You know what? So it's a joke with my wife. I always joke with my wife because, babe, can we get a tiger or a lion, like just a little baby one? She's like, what? No, you can't do that. She's like, why do you want? I said, I don't know. I just want a lion or a tiger and name it Philip. So she bought me this picture for Christmas, and she said, here's Philip. So it's been Philip. I don't know why. It was just funny to have a lion named Philip. I think it was just maybe an inside joke.
That's funny. That's great. No, it's a good reminder. The old saying, "You kill what you eat." Business. You're a person, man. The thing I like about it, you can tell you're not embarrassed. You're like I'm proud to be a salesperson. I can tell you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I tell people a lot. I'm way more shy than people believe. I have a very very shy personality. But it's you know what? I've always kind of wanted to be in a position to where I was very proud of what it was I did. Like, and I tell people all the time, everyone knows a real estate agent, right? Everyone knows a real estate agent. So that we always talk about, how do you tell people what you do? I love this line I got from a book. It's called what exactly to say in real estate. And in the book it always goes with, well, what do you do? I don't know if it's for you, but I'm a real estate advisor, and I help people buy and sell real estate. It may not be for you, but if you know anyone that's looking for real estate within the area, please give them my contact. I just learned it works a little bit easier instead of just randomly going up to everyone. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. In some cases, I do that too. Sometimes I'll go to the bar and just be completely obnoxious, and I'll just sit at the bar and say, "Hey, before I start drinking, is anyone looking to buy or sell real estate? Anybody? No? Okay." And I'll just sit down, like, all right, I got that out the way. I just want you guys to know.
I love it.
Now that's considered. Now this vodka tonic is considered marketing, so we can write.
And rumor has it that you may even went to the cigar bar or two prospecting.
Yeah, to be honest with you, starting off, that used to be my thing. So everyone knows that, like, I especially my first few years, I was suit every day, suit and tie, and I would come into the office that way, and then when I leave the office, I would go and I would just go sit. I would go have lunch or whatever. I would sit at a bar or order me a salad, and while I'm sitting at the bar, I can acknowledge everyone there that's looking like, who's this guy? He's dressed very nicely. What does he do? Everyone wants to ask, what does he do? Who is he? Is he a football player? Is he this? What is? So I'll just wait. I'll wait until I get a compliment or wait until I get any type of notion that they want to engage. And sometimes I used to just send around the shots. I'd buy everyone drinks. And as soon as that happens, everyone just eases up and now everyone's talking. The vibe is all there. And then boom. And literally it turns into a whole work conversation. Well, what do you think about the market? What do you think about this? And then so I've gotten some good leads from it too. Actually, I want to say me and Nicole had a listing appointment we went to off a very similar situation where we we had met someone. We're all at the bar and we started talking, and he was looking to sell his house, and we went to go meet with them, and it was a really really good meeting actually.
That's great. No, where that's, I know you see my personality, must have been being a singer and writing music. But spoken, breaking for you to be less shy of business.
I'm not gonna lie, Lick. I'm not gonna lie, Rick. You kind of broke up some. I couldn't catch you. I
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
follow along.
Oh, okay. I was saying that your past, out in performing, must, as far as your shy personality, right, got into real estate, it made it a lot easier to talk to people.
Yes, yes. Actually, it did. To be honest with you, a lot of what I do, I maneuver the exact same way that I did, with music, especially like when I was starting off, being more like local. So going to meet certain people at the radio station and going to, introduce myself to certain, artists and collaborations. Almost, I use that almost exactly to the same effect. It's just when hence I turn into Jay Pierce. You know, when I go home, I can cut it off. At least I try to sometimes. But then I can literally take that same energy the same rush I used to get from performing. I get from meeting a client, being able to win the client over, being able to show, improve, and go above and beyond what they were expecting as expectations, and really just getting that outside of the check. You're getting that high five at the end, like thank you. I just had a deal I closed on. It was a FISBO. I had a house that I sold right next door, and I seen the number. Hey, call to see this house. So I called him, and he was a little reluctant, and just stayed on him for a few weeks. He finally goes and gives me the listing agreement. Long story short, we just closed a week ago, and he like sent me a long text message like, "I'm so thankful for your professionalism, your communication, things like that." Funny thing was, I think his wife was a real estate agent as well, but however it worked out, they ended up using me. But at the end of the day, like that, it just feels good. I want to be known as someone who does good work. I want to, outside of like I said, outside of any financial gain on it, I want to be known and trusted in this real estate world. I want people to know that I know what I'm talking about, that I know what I'm doing, and I just want to build that reputation. So it just takes one client at a time, actually.
Sure does, and I, by the way, take your very responsibility seriously, and you will always grow. And it's
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing is that professionalism. I see there's some big agents out here that I see and I look up to. I always give good credit to there's a agent that works for a different brokerage, but every time I see him, he's very professional, very very on key, and like literally the same guy every time you meet him, and he's like the most genuine person I've ever met. Every time I ask him, I said, "Is he playing around?" I said, "No, that's him every time." So I think of there's an email he sent me one time, and in his email it has his team name, and his title says brand ambassador, and I thought that
wow.
was genius. I thought it was like for me, I was like, yes, that's genius. I don't, as far as when it comes to the advisory, when it comes down to Berkshire Hathaway, I like to look at myself as brand ambassador. I want to make sure I'm keeping that professionalism and that name, at a high level at all times. Whenever I'm out, if people know that I'm with this, with Berkshire Hathaway or with the advisory, I want them to know that, it's going to be a high level of standard and professionalism at all times.
That's great. No, and you can tell about so forth. So speaking of that, so I'm an agent trying to take it to the level, trying to come out of the gate hot. What would be the three most important things you tell them to?
Three most important things. Yes. The first most important thing is just do it. Just do it. Whatever it is you're thinking, just do it. I got some feedback one time from my dad. Me and my dad is still one of my biggest mentors and helping me grow business and things like that. And he sat down with me one night. We're having some bourbon, and he sat down with me one night. And he gave me some feedback that I didn't like at first, but it made perfect sense. And he said, "Look, When it comes down to business, if you're gonna be, you're running a business. You are the business. Don't think of it as you work for Berkshire Hathaway. You're running your own business. You have to build it. You have to market it. You have to monetize it. And he said, and what you do is, most people say ready, aim, fire. What you have been doing is ready, aim, aim, aim. Wait a minute, aim. Oh my God, fire. And he said, so you shoot from the hip, and it almost feels like it's impulsive because you put it on hold so many times, and then all of a sudden you just do it. When I acknowledged that, and when I was able to receive that from a place of constructive criticism, I understood that it's never going to be perfect. There's if I aim and fire, how else am I going to get the feedback unless I fire? Okay, maybe that was too far left, or maybe that was too far right. Waiting, waiting for it to be perfect is not the best way to go about it. That would be my biggest thing of advice. Just do it, and you correct it, and give yourself feedback as you go, and it'll get better as you do it. The more you do it.
On course.
Yes, yes. My second thing was, I actually just wrote there's a piece that I wrote that got published in a like an online real estate forum. I actually just had an interview with Inman as well, but your brand, like, think of yourself as a brand and find out how that brand works for you. I tell everybody I know, I say, look, guys, the suits and everything, that's my brand. That's what I like. That's who I am. People that know me know I always get dressed. I like that. It may not work for everyone. So,
Right.
and it's not to say that there's one way to fish. There's not one way to catch a fish. That's just my way. And I lead very heavily with my brand. I try to make sure that I keep that brand as cohesive and as, on point as possible. So the second advice is, make sure you know what your brand is. You have to be aware of what your brand is and brand it, and
Yeah.
get out there and push it. Get out there and make the connections to where your brand stays local and stays together. Um, and my third thing is going to be, just don't be afraid of making mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Some of those mistakes may be expensive, but you learn from them. The best way to learn is by making mistakes and continuing to grow. I still remember my first year. I had a $7,826 mistake. I had never forgot it, nor have I ever made that mistake again. But
Right.
but that's how you learn. That's how you learn. My moniker that I I lead with, it could be a gift and a curse, but I say it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. I'm gonna go
Right.
and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this. And, oh, I can't. Okay, I'm sorry. I won't do that anymore. But what if I do it this way? And
Right.
and I just kind of lead by that. I'm not afraid of making mistakes, and I would hope that when you're coming into this business, don't be afraid of making mistakes. And actually, Rick, I have an extra one. I have an extra one to throw in there. Extra one I want to throw in there as well is, make sure your mental is right. I think this game is a big mental game, because real estate is one of the few industries you can get into and you can do everything right for 6 months and see no return. And a lot of people get discouraged with that, and then what? Never mind. This isn't for me. It's not necessarily the case. You just have to continuously. You have to do it, because you could do that literally for 6 months and get nothing, and on month 7, three of those leads that you've been nurturing or that you've been following up comes back, and now you have, it's the snowball effect. Now you have some traction going. So, it's continuing to exercise your mental and building it from there.
I love it. I love it too. Yeah. And, you're absolutely right. All those things are incredibly important. And like you said, though, man, you got to keep ready, fire, and got to make sure you're doing that. Yeah, that was great advice from your father, because a lot of people try to perfect it before they take action. The only way you will perfect it is by taking action. So great
Yes.
stuff. Great stuff, my man. All right. I just want to say thank you, Jay, very much for taking your time out today. Great. I'm sure a lot of it's, and I really appreciate out 30 minutes of your time, my man. Any
I
final?
appreciate it. No, man, It's always a blessing to get to talk to you, Rick, man. I appreciate you. For those, as you said, I do get the privilege of talking to you at least twice a month, which a lot of the times the conversations are very helpful. Sometimes it's just good just to talk to someone that's been in the business and kind of being able to, kind of guide me like, look, your mental's a little off, but stay strong, continue to do the work. That's one thing you've always told me. Just continue to do the work. It pays off. And I've been doing that a lot lately and starting to see, a lot of a lot of the pipeline really starting to kick in. So man, you know what, Rick, thank you. Thank you,
Thank
man.
you.
I appreciate you always, giving that time and building into me, man.
Well, you're a great student. You have a lot. You're very gifted in your card, and you also are coachable, which is a great combination. And keep
Thank you,
rocking.
man. Appreciate it,
All
man.
right.
Have a good one, Rick.
All right, you too, buddy. We'll talk soon. Thank you. Bye, everybody.